Hi, I'm from a bathroom and plumbing supplies retailer who sells products made in Germany and Italy. These products are made in countries with similar wages, unionism and costs associated with manufacturing these products. Why then does a country who has made a fortune digging valuable resources up from the ground does not have the capacity to make these same products here, particularly given the reduced freight cost to the consumer of homegrown products compared to those made in countries like Europe?
It's a really interesting question. You're the Minister for Industry.
And that's our big focus. I mean, coming out of the pandemic, and we've spoken about it through the course of the show tonight, the things that we needed most weren't there when we needed them. And that was a pretty important lesson for us, the impact of supply chains and geopolitics, the way that that's operated. And obviously the other big challenge of our time is climate change and the need to reduce emissions. And I think we can mobilise Australian industry to be part of that. And that's why we are focused especially on making sure that we are a country that makes things. It creates not only the products that we need in those key areas. We can't do everything, but we will be focused on key areas. We've got to be able to do more in value adding, in terms of what we have with resources. We have the greatest store of critical minerals on the planet, and yet we don't really do the extra step of the value add with respect to there. But also across medical sciences and obviously energy and emissions and emerging capabilities in technology as well, where we have a lot of smart people here in this country who feel for whatever reason that they're just not getting the support or interest and leave our shores to chase what they want to do elsewhere. So from our point of view, being able to be a country that makes things, that we sharpen our technology edge, and through that we create really good, secure, long-term jobs as well, well-paying jobs. That is a big focus for us. Is it going to be easy to sort out? No. I'm not coming here saying we're going to fix this in one term. We've had big, in terms of global shifts around manufacturing, and also within manufacturing, the nature of it itself. But it is something that I think is important, and certainly our government thinks important longer term, to do exactly the type of things you're asking in terms of the question of being able to have our own products when we need them.
I think there's a very simple very simple answer to your question. If you're a German manufacturer, you have huge trade openness with the entire European continent. You're talking about 400 million households, probably maybe give or take. Here you've got your potential customers of 15 million households, and the scale benefits of that, we just can't compete. It's that simple. And now, which is why a big Australia is a very good idea. The problem is, when we talk about housing, as we continue to grow the population, we can't keep up with the housing supply, and that drives up the price of assets. So it's very complicated, but I mean, there's a lot of benefits.
A big Australia that keeps up on the infrastructure front. Is it possible?
Look, good question. It's a bit like, can Trump win the election? I would not want to predict the future. But I certainly think that there are huge benefits to be unlocked for the Australian economy if we continue to really aggressively grow the population. But yeah, we have to think about the downsides as well.
Jacqui, big population?
I don't think we can handle a big population right now, that's for sure.
You could take more people in Tassie.
Our Australia, we've got no homes down there either, mate. OK, so that's the problem we have. I've got plenty of homeless out in the streets, so it'd be very unfair for me to say to other Australians, yes, we should be asking a lot more people to come in here when we can't accommodate what's already here. I think that's rubbish. But also something about what you were saying. Yeah, make Australia make again. That'd be fabulous. You know, I had to have a bit of a giggle.
Make Australia make again.
Yeah, I had to have a bit of a giggle today about your tariffs of $30 million you're going to be able to make out of that, because apparently I think it was your Treasurer was talking about chopsticks, which I found very amusing. So we've learnt nothing out of COVID, because apparently we can't even make chopsticks here in this country.
Are we importing them? And toothbrushes. Yes. Toothbrushes too. Stephanie?
Sorry, can I just jump in very quickly? The complex the stuff that we need to make, in particular, like for instance, if it's a choice between chopsticks and, say, for example, the next vaccine, or the next thing that cures cancer, or the next thing that, I tell you, we should be putting our eggs more in that basket. That's what we're trying to do.
Like valuable things.
Exactly, those type of things. And we can't necessarily Joe is right, we can't just rely on our population, but the reality is we are also, we have set up trading relationships, particularly within our region and other countries where our products are rated, and we do need to be able to bolt on markets through that. And for us to give up, I'm not saying that's necessarily the way that you were putting it, but the reality is we've had heaps of people say over the years, we just can't do manufacturing. And we've seen other countries be able to do manufacturing. And with the fact that while we might have a small population, we've got strong trading relationships, means we can make it here and ship it everywhere, and that's where our head should be.
I just don't think we've learnt anything out of COVID at all. We had to wait for supplies to come in. God help us if we need to go up there and protect our country, because there's not enough weapons, there's hardly any rounds here. We've got enough fuel to last us 2 or 3 days. All that's going on, by the way, just so you know. So I'm not so sure, and sooner or later that unemployment rate's going to sneak back up. And I tell you what, there's a lot more jobs in manufacturing than what there is in making medicines, and I don't have a problem with you doing that, but you should be able to do both.
European example, big market. Is that why we can't make stuff here?
Well, OK, you mentioned Germany, manufactured goods. Here in Australia, we gave up our manufacturing. It won't be easy to start manufacturing final goods again. And it would be futile to try to do it in one go. But what we can do in this country is this. Take Europe. Europe is about to introduce a border adjustment carbon tax, which means that Chinese electric vehicles going to Europe are going to face a tariff because, their nickel and cobalt inside the batteries and so on is produced using brown technologies, not green technologies. What Australia could do, because we have vast areas, arid areas, you can just fill them with solar panels. It's just a major new renewables expansion program for the purposes of creating green hydrogen, not to export it. You cannot export it in large distances. That is crazy. In order to create plants for refining cobalt, copper from South Australia, iron, steel, nickel, to refine it and make it green before you sell it to the Chinese, to put it into their cars to avoid the adjustment. So I'm giving you an example of the kind of green industrial revolution that Australia can participate in, but that requires a government that has the courage to do it. It will take something like the investment of the Snowy scheme, big government public investment for the purposes of, ditching fossil fuels, creating renewables, and use them to create a new intermediate manufacturing base. Nothing else will work. That would work.